internet, we both know why you're here. This is going to be a paint about emotions, and when I typically think of colors related to emotions, I'm thinking of yellow and blue, and I'm also thinking of motion, and with all of these elements, I kind of led myself to Van Gogh's painting Starry Night. So this is an emotions painting, but the style of it is primarily inspired by Starry Night. So to start, I'm using yellow face paints. I'm just covering my entire face with this. This is Mehron Paradise Paints. And then I'm taking some white paint and kind of using it as like a contour. So all of my highest points on my cheeks, on my jaw, on my chin, and I love trying to point out like collarbones and like things about the neck. I feel like necks are usually very, very elegant. And then this is some light blue paint. This is Ben Nye blue paint mixed with a little bit of white Paradise paints. And then we're just doing like the deepening contour with that. So this is where the patient part begins. I'm using a small flat detail brush and I'm starting out with white paint and just putting like these small swipes on all of my highest areas. We're beginning with white, but since white paint really, when you layer it on top of another color, kind of reactivates the color beneath it, and as it dries it kind of mixes with it. So even though this is white paint, it is, as it's drying, going to kind of settle into a very, very light yellow and a very light version of whatever we're putting it on top of. I also put the white paint a bit on the blue areas because again, those are going to blend into the color beneath it. And then this is where we start kind of with our color mixing. So then I also started using white paint with the blue Ben Nye paints, and I began to start to marry these edges where the yellow is and where the blue is, because the end result, I didn't want there to be a really obvious line of like where one ends and one begins. And then for this kind of yellow color, this is actually like the yellow paints mixed with a tiny, tiny amount of red Mehron paints. And I began to like deepen up the yellow areas. When you're looking at something like Starry Night, there's always like all kinds of colors. Like there's not just the blues staying with the blues and yellow staying with the yellows. They're kind of meeting and intermingling. And then a lot of this is just kind of going back and forth between deepening the blues, putting the blue with a little bit of black, maybe mixing a little bit of the blue with a tiny bit of orange, and just really patiently just beginning to merge these different borders. I put some white paint on my lips because I wanted those to pop out a bit more. I was also trying to be conscious of what direction these swipes were going in so that it looked like there was a real flow to my face, so that the lines, they weren't just going up and down, they weren't just going side to side, that they were really following anatomy. And then there's just some straight up blue from that Ben Nye to really deepen everything. When I started to deepen really like the orange and the blues, that's when you really started to see everything really pop. I also did kind of like lip contouring where I just really outlined the whites of my lips with this really deep reddish yellow burnt orange color. And something kind of funny happened with the lips where once I did, like, I really completely outlined my lips, it almost gave it like a permanent pout. It really looked like almost like a permanent duck face. So even in photos when I wasn't actually pouting, it made it look like my lips were just like really pushing out. And I also put like a little bit of orange right in the middle of my lips just so that my lips weren't this flat color. And then since my eyes were just a little bit too bland for me, I used some of that blue paint again, and I made just like kind of a skinny but long, tried to make like a really long, elegant, thin wing. And that is it. This has been PTBarpun for HalloweenMakeup.com. Whatever day it is that you're seeing this, I hope you're having a good one, and I will see you the next time I do video stuff. Bye.